As you can see, I've got the Titleist Tour van behind me. This is where the players get their golf clubs every week while they're out on tour. This thing follows the European Tour wherever it goes. Now, the Titleist guys have been very kind to vacate the tour van for me to give you the chance to take a quick look inside. So let's get out of the bad weather and go and have a look. Right, this is the back of the Titleist Tour van. As you can see, all the gloves on this side of the wall. This is obviously where the FootJoy gloves are held. So you've got Cyflex on the top row here. We've got some rain gloves up here, so these will all be black. You've got the Cyflex gloves here, Stay Soft, and then you've got some Titleist gloves down here as well. So anyone walking onto the tour van that needs a selection of gloves for the week, they might just literally pluck a box out of the thing and off they go. So that's pretty good. On this side of the storage area, you've got all the Titleist Pro V1s, Pro V1Xs that the players will want, and they're in different boxes with different numbers on them. So if I take a quick look, this is the high numbered Pro V1s in here. So obviously a lot of players will have particular preferences as to what type of number they want. Some of them hate to look down on, for instance, a number 8 because it puts bad thoughts in their head. Others quite like to look down on a 1 or a 2. Anyway, whatever you want, they're in here. Okay, on a day like today when the weather's terrible, this sort of seating area you can see behind me gets very popular. Caddies, managers, agents, players, they'll all come in, they'll all lounge around, have a cup of coffee, have a bit of a chin wag. So at the start of the week, this sort of area, very popular indeed. Now, if you look behind me, you'll be able to see this is the room. This is the room where they make all the adjustments. That's where they build the golf clubs. This is a very important room for the actual production of what they do here. Let's go and have a closer look inside. Some nice photographs of some of the current range of clubs. All very good. Can't miss it if you pass it on the motorway. Okay, so this is the workshop. This is where the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty of what the Titleist Tour van is all about. This is where it takes place. So whilst in the room behind me is where the players will come in, they'll sit down, have a cup of coffee, chill out, they'll grab their soft goods, so their gloves and their balls and their tees, hats, waterproofs, all that sort of stuff. This room is really what the Titleist Tour van is all about. So for instance, this machine that you can see next to me, this is where the guys would just offer different grinds for different wedges. So let's say, for instance, you're playing British Open week and you want a little bit less bounce on your wedges, they'll come in here, they'll take a bit of bounce off and they'll give you a wedge setup that works. And this is the kind of area that does that. So also in here you've got a Titleist Scotty Cameron putting device here that just allows the guys to check loft and lie just to make sure everything's set as the player wants it. So it could be anything from your iron setup, changing grips, changing shaft in your driver, checking your loft and lie in any of your clubs. This is where it takes place, and this is what the Titleist Tour van is really all about. Obviously this tour van does a hell of a lot of miles during the year. Let's go and have a look at the cabin. Right, you join me in the cabin of the tour van now, and this is where the guys will spend a lot of their time as they go from tournament to tournament all the way across Europe, driving from Portugal to Spain to France to Italy to Holland, all over the place with this thing. It's a pretty comfortable place to be. Obviously, as you can imagine, it's quite a superior driving position. Should the guys want to take a quick nap by the side of the road, there's a little bed here they can have a bit of a relaxation time in. There's plenty of room up here, quite comfortable, but I'm sure the guys that drive there every single day probably sick of the sight of it by the end of the season. So there you have it. That van is out on the European Tour every single week. Now you'll know what happens inside.